credit card debt hit the record high at $1.13 trillion, and credit card debt increased by 50 billion.
And a new report from the Federal Reserve shows American household debt is at an all-time high of $18 trillion. Debt grew by $93 billion at the end of 2024, and half of that increase came from new credit card debt. Now, New York Federal
Mortgages, car loans, credit cards. Americans are borrowing more than ever. U.S. household debt now at $17.94 trillion. For credit cards, that debt has never cost more. The average interest rate almost 22%.
In last quarter. So, what does this mean for American? Is it a big red light, or is it more and more people going to be defaulting on credit cards?
Charge off. What happens is when you stop paying on your credit card, but at some point they're going to realize if you're not paying, and so at that point they're going to use it as a charge off. So they get some sort of tax deduction for that.
Believe it or not, this does not indicate a recession, and this does not indicate anything besides that people are spending more money, and it does not mean that it's going to cause a recession. Credit cards are not against anything. So the person who's liable is only going to ruin his credit. So it's not going to be one of the things that cause a recession. What's going to cause a recession is people getting behind on their mortgage payment. People can't pay for electricity, water, food. Those are the big ticket items, the four walls. So yes, you can default on a credit card and pay quarter on the dollars if you let it run long enough. But do I recommend that? No.
Card debt to go into collections to hopefully settle for a far lesser number.
Not do that unless you simply have not got a way to pay the bill. How much credit card debt have you got?
It's not asking.
Now, the best thing to do is get yourself in a situation that can solve these issues. Now, some of the issues you can figure out is if you can afford these credit card bills and the best way to pay your credit cards back. Now, you can follow Dave Ramsey or the Avalanche method. Both of those are very good methods, and those are the videos. Which one? Now, I always recommend to pay off the highest interest first. It just makes more sense to me, just because it saves you more money in the long run. But it also might be good for your mental health if you pay off the lower credit cards first. So based on your situation, it's always be best. Now, what can you do to get out of these bad credit card debt and into a situation where you can afford it? The first thing you need to do is do what Dave Ramsey tell you.
First thing you've got to do to get out of debt is stop borrowing more.
Yes, cut up your credit cards. If you cut up your credit cards, you can't use it and close out those accounts. You already ruin your credit. It does not matter. Now, do I recommend it to cut up all your credit cards? I do not recommend it. I always tell you to keep one for the back burner. You never know what you'll need to do. But I do recommend you freezing it and put it in the freezer, or freezing it and putting it somewhere you can't reach easily. And don't try to memorize your credit card numbers, so it'll help you out. Now, the second thing you need to do is, once you get your spending under control, is you need to figure out your budget. Now, that is one of the budget methods you could do. There's plenty of other ones that you can use, but at the end of the day, you need a budget to figure out where you're overspending or underspending. Now, it does not mean that you are making enough. Maybe you aren't making enough. So your budget really needs to indicate a couple of things. How much money are you making, and are you living above your mean? Now, some people don't make enough. So if you don't make enough, you have to bring up more income, and that's just something you have to do. Now, if you have to bring in more income, it does not matter what you do to bring in that more income. It could be overtime, it could be side hustles, it could be picking up an extra job, or your significant other going back to work or working more. There's all different methods as long as you bring more income and start paying your bills. Now, once you get your budget together and you start paying towards your bills, you should be fine. Now there's all different other methods you can do, but at the end of the day, credit card hits a record high, and I am personally concerned about that because that means to me more and more Americans are living above their means, and whenever default's starting to come, it's gonna hit hard because people are relying on those credit cards too much. And this is one of the things you need to try to avoid. You should always live below your means. Now, I know it's hard and it's not the easiest thing whenever you see advertisement that's focused towards you. And yes, videos do a lot of advertisements to try to get to buy things, and you have to try to avoid it. And wanting to go on trips and relaxing is there too. So that's all I got. America credit hits the record high. And does it concern me? No, it doesn't concern me because you can default to them and nothing will happen to you besides ruin your credit. Now, if your credit card does have something liable with it or that's allow you to hold that credit card, you will lose whatever you put a lien against that credit card. But most people who have credit cards do not have anything lien against them, and it just will ruin their credit. And if you wait a year or two and don't pay it back, you can negotiate on a quarter on dollar. And that's all I got for you. I'm not worried about these high credit card limits. So don't worry about it. Just keep moving forward. If you don't pay them, they can't take your house. They can't take your car. They'll just close out your credit card and nothing else really will happen besides tanking your credit. Yes, you shouldn't do it. But if you have to choose either keeping your lights on or paying a credit card, I'll tell you keep your lights on and screw those credit cards because at the end of the day, you need to keep your four walls, keep yourself fed, clothed, and warm. That's all I got for you. Like and subscribe to my video.